We're here today to talk about the 6 tenets of lean. Respect for people, optimize the whole, elimination of waste, focus on flow, generate value, and continuous improvement. When we think about respect for people, it's the tenet that is all-encompassing and fundamental. It touches all of our tenets, and without it, the other 5 don't matter. It's a people-first movement. When we think about LCI's 6 core principles, the first one that we're going to talk about is respect for people, and it's fundamental. It's part of our value system. If you had a project that could have better project outcomes, but not respect people, that would not be considered a success. It's one of those things that it's more important than the profit on a project to make sure that at the core you respect people. And we know that respecting people actually is the better way to have better project results. One thing that I don't think we talk enough about, the ultimate respect for people on projects is safety. To make sure that the people on the project come home to their families and are safe is the ultimate, the ultimate disrespect is if they don't come home from the project. So lean provides a better way on a lot of things, but also making sure that people get home safe is something I think that I'd like to see us talk more about. And I know that those evidence-based scientific statistics about that is there. Henry, I know that respect for people is something that you're deeply passionate about. Tell me, what does respect for people mean to you?
Wow, yeah, that's a great question. I think about respect for people and what it means. It's really caring about people. It's really showing up and making decisions that are based on not just profit, but also just the concern about the well-being of our individuals that go out and do the work, whether you're in operations or you're out constructing something, installing. So it means, with the way that we have it in our publication in regards to just the visual, it really embodies everything, all the other tenets. And if we don't have respect for people, all those other tenets really fall apart. And so just by example, I think, because I come from the trades, and for some reason, I think we can all probably attest to this, that the construction world has seemed to have a license to berate people, and it's okay. And for years and for decades, this is just the way it is, and it's been acceptable behavior. And so we spent a lot of time trying to instill that value proposition of how do you treat people with respect, and what does that look like? And so without it, again, we're kind of a lost cause. And I think about a couple of different examples. You mentioned safety, just physical safety. We had a project that was on one of my best projects that took 25 years for it to happen for me, but it actually happened, where there was a gentleman that was violating a safety rule, and he was out on a ledge and not tied off, and he was going to get fired. He was caught by the safety personnel of the general contractor, came in, it was clear and done. He is going to lose his job. And so they brought him in, had a conversation with him just to kind of go through the motions. And as they started speaking with him, the lady asked a question. She said, looked him in the eye and said, "So tell me, what do I tell your family when you're dead?" And the guy began to break down. And at that moment, all the anger and the position that she had took about you're going to lose your job just went away, because she saw this brokenness in this guy that realized in that moment what he had done. Like, it wasn't just about just everybody else who's going to be around here and see his body on the ground, but his wife and children would see him no more. And so with that, the whole thing just kind of transitioned into this conversation, and firing went off the table because she felt like he absolutely learned his lesson, And so I thought, what an example of respect that is, for not just this person, but his family and his well-being and the decisions that he would make next from that scenario. So it moved all of us. This happened over 10 years ago, and it still, for me, is very impactful. And so I think if we can really rally around understanding the humans behind the tools, the humans behind the desktops, and all the decisions we need to make, that we would really recognize how valuable and essential it is to really think about respect in a way that changes lives. And it would solve so many problems if we just learn how to communicate better and show up with, I want to respect you. And what does that look like first?
Absolutely. We see that culture beats tools every time. Tell us about how you think that lean can help add value to a project.
Yeah, I think one of the key tenets of lean is generating value. To me, value is when an individual, an organization, or a team has a need or needs, and you're able to bring competence, capabilities, organization, and team to develop that need. So there's always a demand for something, and when that supply meets that something that's needed, that's when value is generated. What I love about the way LCI defines that is that it's about understanding what the client needs. It's client-centric. And that requires asking the right questions, listening, and making sure that we're really providing, we're answering that why. What does the client need and why? And so that focus on generating value as defined by the customer, I think is what enables you to better deliver what the client needs. And it's actually not a trivial question. Sometimes we think we understand what the client's looking for. You'd be surprised, right, through asking the right questions and listening, how you can really fine-tune and get to really what the client needs.
I think to tag on to that, understanding the client beyond the client, right? I mean, who are they serving?
Who's the customer?
Who are we ultimately, right? And just understanding too that the customer changes through the value stream of the project too. Contractors are a customer of design at some point, and we're building this for ultimately someone who's going to live, breathe, work, create new life. Healthcare, in understanding all of that helps us identify the customer, identify the right value at the right time, through the life of the project.
Yeah, who's the customer? We're all customers, right? As the reason why I think LCI has all the stakeholders, involved is because we understand that to achieve the best outcomes, we got to do it together, and we got to, we listen to each other in terms of figuring out ways to how to do it better together.
So I'm going to tag on to that a little bit about, how does optimizing the whole look at the ground level with your team? I think a lot of the traditional behaviors focus around division of scope and this is mine and that is yours and don't touch mine and I don't touch yours and all that sort of kind of behavioral things that are legacy within our construction business. And there's probably economic reasons why all those came about. But when you start to work as a team to understand what the end goal is and can have an honest conversation about where I can help you and you can help me and where someone might be better suited to do a certain task that might have, traditionally been assigned to me, that is where you're going to find ways to really optimize the project, how it's delivered, remove waste, and get to a better outcome, which at the end of the day is what we're trying to do for the end user, the end customer.
In reality, the cost of construction goes up every year, and it's been going up every year for a long time. Our primary mission is to provide access to healthcare for our patients. And every year we have significantly more demand for projects than we have capital to do those projects. And so it is often, I think people think that we want to lower the cost of our projects so that we can keep the money. But it doesn't actually work that way. We have a certain amount of money we can afford to spend every year. And so as long as we can maximize the value that we get for those dollars and minimize the dollars that get spent not adding value, then we can do more projects. And so I've often said, especially to the trade community, that this is not about taking work away. This is about, we're going to spend all of this money. It's just how many projects can we get done with this money so that we can fulfill our mission, which is just to see more patients and help more people.
When we think of a tenant that is trying to design a better way to flow the projects, Andrea, could you tell us about flow?
Sure. And I think it connects really strongly back to those value streams that we were talking about earlier too, and understanding the customer that the work that you're doing is to be delivered to and for. And I think one of the most disruptive things on a project is not understanding that and pushing things or putting things out of order that create waste. It's one of those things that kind of brings maybe all of the tenets together. understanding the flow, understanding the right flow, the most productive flow, helps us be better teammates, helps us collaborate better, and helps us deliver the work in a timely manner to not create waste, to not create that rework, and to not create the pain experienced of a disruptive flow or a lack of flow.
I'll add to that a little bit too, just based on what we hear from our superintendents and the guys that actually are in the field doing the work. And the hardest part that they talk about is finishing the job. It's the last few months of the job. It's always a fire drill. It is all of our resources get stacked on top of each other just trying to finish. And if we utilize that flow mentality and ensure that we've got smooth flow from the beginning, really from design all the way through as we're planning the job and transition to construction, if we maintain that flow, then we can eliminate a lot of that, back end fire drill to finish the job. It's always a challenge, and it's that last few months that always gets us in trouble.
If we create real and reliable promises for you in design, you can create real and reliable promises in implementation.
On a project, you can't weaponize other people's mistakes against them.
Mm-hmm.
We have to sit and be truthful about the things that maybe we have also had shortcomings, and be willing to accept the help of others on how we can be better at it next time. Using the framework of a lean project in doing that effort around the respect for people and as a team is where you get that ability to do that. I'm not going to lie about it. But like, construction is traditionally a fairly litigious business. It's a delegation of risk business, or it can be. So it does take the collective to come together and agree that we're going to do things in a different way. We're going to try to get better as a group. I will try to get better at how I do what I do. You will help me. I will help you get better at what you do. And you won't necessarily find that in the traditional operating system within the construction business. So I really do appreciate when we have practitioners that want to try, because that's what continuous improvement is. It's the ability to want to try.
This has been an amazing conversation talking about the 6 tenets of lean, and I want to thank everybody for their contributions today. It's been a great conversation.